Hello, and welcome to the Big Ten Bowl Breakdown here in East Lansing, Michigan. I'm your host, J-Mo Williams, and here's my partner, John Coffey. How you doing, John?
I'm doing well. How are you, J-Mo?
Good. 'Tis the season for Christmas and bowls, so I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. So yeah, the BCS just this last week came out with all the bowls, but we're specifically going to focus on the Big Ten and how that shook out. We have 10 teams this year. That's quite impressive. Just Indiana and Minnesota missing out, but so it's going to be a big season, a big time that we can possibly make an impact. You know, let the critics know that the Big Ten is a football conference as well as a basketball conference. So yeah, John. Like I said, Big Ten is 10 teams, and it's a very exciting time for the Big Ten in football. What matchups are you going to tune into?
Well, you know, all of them are interesting games. Credit to Big Ten. It's great that they finally got most of their teams into the bowl season. Like you said, unfortunately, Minnesota, Indiana couldn't get us perfect. But it's great that we got 10 teams in, and I mean they have a tough slate. There's a lot of really good teams that are playing in this bowl season, and it's definitely going to be a challenge. But like you said. It's a way for Big Ten to kind of represent themselves and show the nation who we are this year, and I like the chances of finishing above 500. So one of the more interesting matchups that I see for this year is going to be the Wisconsin-Oregon matchup. Obviously, as a Michigan State guy, it's tough to see Wisconsin going instead of the green and white, but I think it's going to be an interesting matchup nonetheless. Wisconsin has played a lot of really good football this year. Obviously, only 2 losses, and those were consecutive weeks on consecutive Hail Marys. And that's interesting in itself. And I think Oregon's going to be a really tough team for them to play. Wisconsin's had trouble with Keyshawn Martin all year from Michigan State, and Oregon's basically a team full of Keyshawn Martins. Speed. It's all speed. But Wisconsin has been very good at overcoming adversity this year. Monty Ball obviously is a stud. Russell Wilson knows how to win ball games. He knows how to make plays. And Aberdaris and Nick Toon are solid wide receivers. And as Michigan State is unfortunately familiar with at this point, Jeff Duckworth is also a formidable receiver for the Badgers. And not to mention their defense, which has been stout this year. They've been stingy, and I think the Wisconsin Badgers are going to be able to represent the Big Ten well. I don't know if they're going to come out on top in this one, but I think they're going to show the nation that the Big Ten is here to stay.
Let's be honest. Do you want Wisconsin to win now?
Do I want Wisconsin to win?
I mean, they took the roses right out of our mouth.
I don't want them to win, but for the sake of the Big Ten, it would be good for the Big Ten if they won.
Oh, so a means to an end kind of thing. Looking at the big picture.
Yeah,
okay, that's
exactly.
nice. That's nice. Yeah, I definitely agree a lot with your analysis there of that game. It's gonna be exciting. I mean, but when is the Rose Bowl? Not, so.
Right.
Yes. My matchup that I'm really looking forward to is Penn State and Houston. I'm a big fan of the underdog, kind of the Boise States and the Houstons. And I really like this matchup because it pits 2 teams that are coming off of big-time adversity. Penn State, obviously, more with the scandal and just the really unfortunate situation. But then you have Houston. You have Houston who is ranked as high as 6th in the nation, was 12-0. They came out of nowhere. I mean, we all knew about Case Keenum and his throwing ability and touchdowns after touchdowns and more yards and setting records. But then all of a sudden in the championship game, they fall flat, against Southern Miss. And so just to see how they bounce back from the first loss of the season, from being knocked out of a BCS bid, I'm really excited to see Houston. And also just the quality matchup, too, against Penn State. Penn State is always, linebacker you, right? So they always have a stout defense. They'll be pinning their ears back and going after Case Keenum. And so I'm really excited to see how Penn State, a Big Ten team, faces a quote-unquote smaller foe. I don't think they're quite as small, but once again, definitely an opportunity for Penn State to come out victorious and kind of just shine some light into this really dark situation, this dark season that's kind of been plaguing him.
Yeah. Well, looking at a couple of the other matches, what do you think about Michigan getting the BCS berth over Michigan State?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was a tough pill to swallow. Well, I just don't think they should be there. It's as simple as that. You know, I mean, first of all, I don't understand how they move up in the BCS rankings when they're just sitting on their couches. You know, that's a little mystery to me. But how they go in over, say, a Kansas State who's ranked 8th, you know, or a Baylor who's ranked in front of them. So, I mean, and it just goes to show that the BCS is truly about fans. You know, it's about money, and it's not about trying to. It's like this is how I see it. It's the first 12, 13 games are about the team and about defining your program, and then the last game of the season, when it should matter the most, it's all of a sudden not about that anymore. It's about who can bring in the most fans and the money, you know. And I just think that's what happened here. I think Michigan's buying power kind of pushed them into the Sugar Bowl.
And just to add on to what you're saying, I think that they really started brand selling at the end of the year. Obviously, Michigan is one of the most storied programs in the nation, won the most games out of any school. And I think that they looked at overall body of work instead of what's happening now, what's happening this year. And Michigan State, I felt like, was a very strong candidate to play in the Sugar Bowl. And unfortunately, they were penalized for playing in the championship game this year, which is beyond me. But Michigan's going to be in there, and they're going to play a really good Virginia Tech team. And, you know, I wish them the best, like I said earlier, for the sake of the Big Ten. But at the same time, you kind of have to hope that they don't play well so that people will know that you can't just sell the brand.
Exactly. I mean, like you said, it's about the body of work this season. What have they done? What have you done for me now? Kind of thing, you know. And I think there's a lot of their teams proved that they did a lot right now. And you know, Michigan cannot just continue. Teams cannot continue to sit on history. You know what I'm saying? We got to advance and move forward. And I think the BCS is sitting on history sometimes, and it's more reason for a playoff system.
Right.
Just saying, you know.
Right.